Hello and welcome, guys. Microsoft Excel has unmatched functionality to develop sophisticated analysis to plan, manage, and control accounts receivable to achieve optimal results with minimum resources and investment. I always advocate that Microsoft Excel is one of the best tools available. So today is the first session of our three-part series, Boost Your Account Receivable Reporting and Analytics by using Excel. So before I proceed, please make sure that you take notes during the session, but also make sure that you don't write down formulas because the part I would like you to focus is on the application of the formula and the logic behind rather than just keep noting them. So don't waste your time in noting, rather focus on how this will be deployed. So, moving on to, I would like to quickly introduce you to myself. My name is Soleiman Qureshi, and I am your host for today. So, today, to begin with, I would like to say a few words about the overall package that will be in this three-part series. First of all, we would like to identify the processes of credit management and what are the data requirements both internally and externally, I mean, with the customer. So, the data source is to be able to deploy credit analysis successfully. We'll examine the powerful features of Excel to extract, clean, and enhance the data. Development of strategic and operational KPIs on entire accounts receivable lifecycle by deploying advanced feature of Excel formulas, tables, Power Pivot tables to develop KPIs and analytics. Development of cutting-edge cash forecast reports and credit recovery analytics that link to Microsoft Outlook that will automate interaction with your customers. Development of real-time credit dashboards on all the dimensions of accrued receivable, and development on an ongoing decision-making support system that will provide critical analysis in order to manage the credit function more efficiently. So today, I hope to consider the main issues around development of credit analytics using the advanced functionality of Microsoft Excel. What I've done is I've divided today's session into further three major areas, which are firstly, I'm going to describe the process of credit analysis and necessary data prerequisite. Secondly, I will move on to data tables import from the ledgers, AR ledgers, of course, and creating tables using pivot tables. Then I'll move on to advanced charting objects as well. Um, so let's start. Now I'm going to start with the understanding of the process of credit analysis and necessary data prerequisites. So before going into that, I would like to also quickly brief you about the factors that are considered in the credit analysis. So I call them 5 C's of credit analysis. The first one is capacity, which measures the ability of the company to pay its debt service obligations. In other words, how can a borrower demonstrate its ability to pay back, analyzing the capacity traditionally comes down to looking at the historical and projected cash flows. Then it comes collateral, that is, or plan B, rather. So it answers the questions: what happens if the customer can't generate enough cash flow to meet its debt services obligations? To protect yourself, like bankable instruments, guarantees, etc. And then comes capital, that ensures that the customer has sufficient skin in the game, kind of thing. Capital measures how much the customers stand to lose should the business fail. The more capital there is, the higher the chance that the customer will do everything in their power to not fail. Then it comes to the conditions. Condition address the economics of your industry and the larger macroeconomic environment. And of course, last but not least, the character. That is the assessment, arguably the most important factor, I believe, when performing the credit analysis. We want to know the customer is trustworthy and isn't involved in any ethically questionable activities. So usually, I'll say the credit analysis process is to gather the past 3 to 5 years of financial statements and tax returns of the customers who are under review. Then the analyst creates a credit spread by spreading the financial statements, and in case of existing customer, a receivable spread as well. So let's take a closer look at the components of receivable analysis. So the first component, I believe, is receivable aging. And account receivable aging is a report that lists unpaid customer invoices and unused credit memos by date ranges. The aging report is itself a primary tool used by the collectors to determine which invoices are overdue for the payments. Then KPI management, the measurement like due within 1 month or the last month's dues or plus 180 days overdues or period end overdues to keep them under control and under certain levels. Overdue versus open item analysis percentage. So for example, how much percentage of the total open items is overdue at the moment? And then provisions, of course, bad debt provisions or the write-offs. So some relationship with the forecasted cash analysis as well, and also based on the region and country level splits as well. So on the very basic level, what are necessary data prerequisites before any sort of analysis? Specifically, I'll say the credit analysis. So the first thing I'll suggest is this discover the relationship. That's very important. So relationship discovery is very important. The data definitely is eventually related somewhere, wherever you have it. It is related to few, I'll say, some company codes, some ledgers, or some customer activities. So it depends. So the ledger activities or relationships should be predefined when you start your analysis. Then it comes completeness. Data should be complete. I'll say, for example, if you are supposed to analyze 1 or 2 years of analysis for the data, may it be the receivable spread or the company financials spread, you need to make sure the data is complete. For example, if you're going for a 1 year analysis and the data is for 6 months, then definitely data is not complete for your analysis. So make sure when you start analysis, what is the end? The end should be in your mind what you want to analyze. Contains errors. So if a data contains errors in between the data, there are errors, then definitely analysis is not possible. Even in the huge data, if you have only few lines with errors, they will make your data analysis complicated. Deduplications. You need to make sure that the data is not duplicated, because duplication means your analysis is going to be screwed up with double figures. So data should be not duplicate. Segmentation. I'll rather suggest you should segment the data in further splits. For example, if you have two kind of local and offshore businesses, split it. If you have country level split it and then analyze. Making small chunks and analyzing is easy rather than going for the big segments. Comparable. Data should be comparable. When you talk about comparability, it's the logic. For example, the two industries cannot be compared on certain extents. Of course, on the bigger numbers, yes, but on the basics, no. So industries are the same. The locations are the same when you're comparing the data, because the currencies, are you comparing the like standard currencies, or you're comparing two different currencies? So currency comparability, that also should be considered before your analysis. Verify unusual amount. So it often happens that you run the statement and it's only 1 minute analysis. You just go to the filters and check what are the numbers. So for example, if you're analyzing numbers in thousands and you see suddenly 1 million, then you need to make sure that this 1 million, either it's actually 1 million or maybe it's in some other currency. So verify unusual amounts. It's a very quick 2 minutes exercise, but it helps always. Include number names of the columns. So either there should be numbers on the columns or the names. So if there are columns without any names or numbers, means empty or blank columns, that is definitely eventually going to be a problem for you to make pivots or to make data analysis. So that is the rule number one. You should have everything on the table when you start working on the table. Convert nulls into blanks. So null value means a value or a cell where you have nothing. So null is nothing. So even if there is a zero in a field, that is a value, zero. But if there is no value at all, that is null. So whenever you analyze, make sure that the nulls should be replaced with zero. Because why I'm asking you, because whenever you will apply some formula, those nulls will not return any value, and that will be frustrating for you for sure. So make sure that there are no nulls, or like if there are blanks, they should be fully blanks. There should be no nulls there. So moving on to importing data tables from AL ledgers and creating tables using pivot tables. So being a collector, I will also say that tables are very important. Majority of our analysis is based on the tables we use. So table fundamentally is the foundation or the basis of our work. So for that reason, I'll say we should understand what are the tables and what are the ledgers. As an account receivable professional, you should understand what are the ledgers. So a ledger consists of posted balances that represent a set of books for a business unit. So ledger stores value by accounting period or by fiscal year. Because ledger supports a single chart of accounts, separate ledgers are also defined for business units having unique chart of accounts. So in Excel language, I'll say these are just tables. For example, ledger tables, detailed ledgers, ledger groups, ledgers for the units, and summary ledgers. So the first thing that I will suggest you to do is whenever you get export from SAP, from Oracle, or any other data source, make sure that the data is converted into tables. So that is one of the most, I'll say, important factor that you should consider in your analysis. So I will show you something over here on rather Excel. So the first thing, as I suggested, that you should make sure that your data is in the form of table. So when you convert the data into the table, that makes it more easy for you to analysis. So that becomes a database itself. So what you have to do is press Control T, select the data and press Control T. You can see there's create table, press OK. Now you have all of this in tables. So it's easy because the moment you will reach on the last record, it's a database kind of thing now. So the moment you will reach over there, just press tab and you see there is the new row entered or allowed for you to enter data. So here you can enter some more information or some more data. I'll just put some date here. So it's another, you will say data here, which I've pulled in. So now it's easy for you to update the data. You don't have to worry about the formats. You don't have to worry about anything. It's just like a database. So you can easily put data inside. So that is one of the most important things that you need to make sure that whenever you enter, uh, get some data, it should be converted into table. Now, another important thing is that whenever you convert it into tables, that's fine. But if you don't convert it into tables, for example, it's in this shape. Now, it's in this shape and you want to see the view as a table, but you don't want to convert it into a table, then I'll suggest you should also consider converting this table into a viewable format. That is, I'll rather suggest that should be a viewable format. And for that format, I'll suggest click and select all the data here. Once you have selected the data, after that, you should go to condition formatting. Once you click on the condition formatting, you should simply go to create a new rule. And that rule is based on the formula. So I'll put the formula here. That formula is simply mod formula. I'm not sure if all of you are pretty much aware of this formula. So I will show you how it works. Is equal to mod row, sorry, R or W. Then we'll have these brackets, comma, space, 2, and the bracket closed is equal to, and I put 0 here. There you go. Now it didn't work. I'll go back to the conditional formatting. Why it didn't work? Because there was no conditional formatting. So we'll select the format. So whenever this formula is applicable, it should convert the rows into green color. So you see now it converted these rows into green color. So it's kind of tabular shape, which will help you to analyze the table. So it should be in a shape. It should be in a way that it should be easy for you to analyze the account. So that's the formula um, to inspect rather. It's helpful to inspect the tables for you. So that was one of the features I wanted you to introduce you to. So whenever you go for a data table kind of creation, or rather a pivot table creation, what you do is normally you go to insert, and when you reach insert, you go to pivot tables. But hold on, why do you go to the pivot tables? There is something recommended pivot tables. That's also very useful. So if you click on it, it will give you a few very handy options quickly. So you can select any one of these options whenever you want, and you can go directly to the options rather than selecting and choosing and entering. So you got quickly one of the options that you wanted. If you want to change something in there, you can quickly go to the value settings and you can change as per your requirement. So this is one of the things that normally people don't use recommended tables, recommended pivot tables. It come across when you come with the new request. It brings you some options which are relevant to the available data. So it's not necessary that it will give you the two options that I got, but it will rather give you multiple options. So for example, here it showed me two examples. So it will show you more than two if you have different sort of data. So it depends on the data you have. It will analyze itself intelligently and give you some option. So that is one of the features. Now, if we have a huge amount of data, let's see if how much data do we have. So I will show you one more thing on this analysis part. It's less, so I will increase the data rather. So I'll put this over here and then I will go and refresh it. I don't have the data there, so what I'll do is I'll paste them. Now it's a bigger amount of data, so I'll refresh. It's not refreshing. I will simply make another pivot table. I think the connection is lost, so I will simply go. I will insert a pivot table. It shows me the numbers here. Yes, I need this. Now the numbers are too big, I believe, for us to analyze. I'll simply reduce. It's 30 million. I think we can run on this. So normally what happens is you go for the K's and M's, but the data is appearing here quite big. So if you want to show it in K or M format, so it's very easy. You simply press Control 1, or you go to from here to the number formatting. So I press Control 1, and just hold on. It's Control 1. And over there, you should go to the number format, go to customs, and in the custom, you'll have to select and delete whatever you have, and you have to put a data format. For example, I'll put here 0.0, comma, comma, and this one. Yes. So this is, I'll call it 13.1 million. So see, now we have 0.1 million, 13.1 million, 48.8 million. So it's better representation of data. So you don't have to bother very much about the selection of the data. Rather, it's quite simple now. It will refresh and change everything, but the formatting will remain the same, just you said. Saw yourself. So this is one of the things that you can do yourself here. So next is one of the very exciting features of Microsoft Excel, that is Power Query. So Power Query, you can use it for forecasting credit ratings from the future GDPs, bankruptcies, all this data you can pull in using this Power Query feature. So I will quickly introduce you to this Power Query feature. So you can simply go into the Data tab. In the Data, you have this Get and Transform. These are all the features for the Power Query. So let's run a Power Query. So for the Power Query, first thing you have to need to know is that there should be some link from where you'll get this information. So for example, I have this link. This is the link of Trading Economics, and over there you can find all the future forecasts for the credit ratings for the countries. So if, for example, you want to pull in one of the ratings, you will simply press Control C and just go down into the Power Query menu. And there are multiple options for multiple sources. So one of the sources is definitely from web. So you'll click on the web. And when you click over, it asks for the URL. So remember, we have copied this URL. I will simply paste it here. The moment you paste here and press OK, it starts fetching the data. So now the data is being fetched. And this data is, it will take a few seconds to pull in everything for you. Just stay for a few seconds and you will see all the tables down here from that particular website. You see here, these are the tables. So the first table is the one which I'm looking for. I need to get the rating from S&P, from Moody's, and from Fitch. So all three ratings are there. I will simply ask load it. So now Excel will load that table for me. Now this table is connected permanently with these countries and with those, I'll say with the table over there. So whenever this data is updated, we can fetch it from there with simple one refresh from here. So one refresh and you'll get this data. Similarly, you can also get GDPs of the country data. For that, I will also share one link with you. This is the one. So if I click on it, let's see where do we reach. So for example, if I reach on this list of the countries, and I can see the GDPs here. Yeah, I can. So I will simply go here. I will put it here. For example, this was forecast of credit rating. So I will make another one. In the another sheet, I will back again go to this new query. I will go to the other sources from their web. And again, I will click onto the address to pull in the query. It's asking me for the link. Yes, this is the link. So now this is Wikipedia from where I'm pulling this data in. So I'll get all this information about the GDP of these countries inside my Excel as well very fast. So this will be permanently linked with that particular website. So whenever I want to access it, I'll have to press simply one click and then right click and refresh. That's it. So it will refresh all the data from that website right away for you. So you don't have to go onto multiple tables, multiple places. So here we have this table where we have GDP for those countries. I'll simply press load. So the moment you click load, all the data says, now we have the country's GDP. Now we have the country's forecasted credit rating as well. So all this data is on your fingertips here. You can also bring in the data of the bankruptcies. For that, I also have one link I'll show you here. This is again the trading economics, and there you have this bankruptcies rates over here. So you can also pull this data into your Excel, and you will have all this information in your pivot table. So this was one of the powerful feature that you have for this particular Excel's Power queries, which are quite useful to pull in the data from other website and to make it available for your analysis. You don't have to worry about the links. You don't have to worry about the data. It's always there. You just have to make a VLOOKUP and you can analyze quickly. So that was one of the feature of creating table using powerful features of Excel. So next is another very powerful feature of Excel, that is DAX, expression language, or data analysis expressions. That's how it is called. So this DAX is used in the Power Pivot to pull in the data and analyze them. So what I'll do is I will show you again another Excel. I will close this file quickly to show you the file. Close this web browser as well. It's no more required for the analysis today. So um, let's go to Power Pivot and let's see how it works. And then, of course, we'll talk about this DAX, or data analysis expressions language. So in general, what do we have in the like normal general scenarios, conventional scenarios, that we have data, we have pivots, we put in information through VLOOKUPs, HLOOKUPs, we use index, so and match and get the information in. So now what I show is how you can make this easy for yourself to plug this information into one place and enable yourself with with the data analysis. So simply I'll go to a new file, and eventually I'll close this file because I'll pull in this data for myself from this Power Pivot or Power Query. So what I'll do is I will get this data first from that file which I've saved over there. So I will simply go back to that file and pull this data. So for that reason, I'll have to go to Manage and bring that data in. For that reason, there you go. It shows that there are features. So the moment I press this button of Manage, I got into this Power Pivot window. This is a very important window. So what I have to do is I have to plug in the data. So from where do I need to get the data? It's showing me a lot of sources. So one of the source that should be there should be import from Microsoft Excel file. So I will simply press next. It will ask me for the file um, location. So I will go and I will locate the file. I've located it. There you go. I will ask it that first row should be the column of the headers. Now I'll ask it for the test of the connection. So it is quickly going to run the test and it's saying the connection is successful. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press next. There you go. I have all the tables here. I want to bring in the pricing table. I want to bring in the sales teams table. I want to take the sales till date table as well. These are not linked tables. I will link them in my database here. So I will just press finish. Now it is pulling in all the data. You can see it's automatically pulled in all the information. All the rows are transferred. There is no error. There's no cancellation. Everything is successful. So that is something we did successfully. Now I'll press OK and close. So the moment I close it, all the data information is pulled into this Power Pivot. Now we have all the tables down there, you can see. all the tables here, and the only thing we have to develop now is to relate these tables, as we were talking earlier about the relationships. That's very important. So I'll simply go to diagram view. In the diagram view, you can see all these tables here. Now, one of the important tables is sales till date. So it should be connected with the sales team, where we have this common account managers, with the pricing table as well. So that should be connected through product. So the concept is that we have pricing information in this table, we have sales team information or the regional information in this table. So we plug this in to our table. So for that reason, we have to connect it. So I'll quickly connect account manager with account manager. There you go. And then I will connect product with the products. So there you go. Now we have connections here. You can see these are connections. Um, so the connections are established. So I will simply now uh, go back after closing this view. I will go to the data view. So I'm here in the data view now. And in the data view, what I can do is now I can go to sales till date table. There we are. And now I will make one DAX, how you call it, data analytic expression. So I will run one DAX here. You can see is equal to related. This is one of the formulas that I can see. Now, when you pull in the reference, you can see over here, when we establish the connection of the tables, it is automatically pulling in the information of the table. So you can see all the columns and the rows over there. So you can see the column for pricing, price, and pricing product. So this is table name pricing, and price is the one of the fields over there, I'll say. So I'll take, for example, in this case, I'll pull in this price. So I pulled it in. I will close the parenthesis here. After closing it, I will multiply it with the sales till date units. So I will need units from here. There you go. You see the units. Press enter. And it started updating, calculating, and there you go. We have the calculations here now. So the formula has worked, the related feature or the DAX feature has worked, and it has calculated all the information for us here. Now this was a simple way to make a table and calculate it. Now I want to sum it up. So for that I will write another DAX, and that is summation DAX. So I will write here is equal to sum. I will pull in the information of the table. So I will write sales. You can see now the sales calculated item is also shown, which is the new item, which is the calculation. So I want to sum it. So I will click on this. And the moment I click on this, I will close the parentheses, I press enter. So the moment you press enter, it starts calculating, and we have the measure number 1 as the total of this table. So here we have the table, here we have the units, everything is there. Now it is directly connected with your Excel. So if you change the data in Excel, your data table calculations will also change on this particular table, I'll say. So that was one of the example, guys. Now let's go back to our lesson. So the lesson now, it comes back to the advanced feature of Excel, date, lookup, and logical functions to develop sophisticated formulas. I'll say nested functions. This is more importantly. So let's start with the date functions. So for the date functions, again, I'll have to take you back to the date functions. So here we are. So we have some date functions here. The first thing that I would like to show you here is, let's make it a little bigger to make it easy for you to see. Now, the first thing I would like to show is equal to now feature. This is the formula that shows you today's date and right now time. So this is how it works. If you want date only is equal to today. So it gives the only date of today. So these are the two formulas. Is equal to now, is equal to day. It gives you the date of today. So that's how it works. I will pull a date here as it is. For example, 2016. This is a sample date. So I'll put a formula here which will give us addition to this date. So is equal to date. I want to add something, so I will put year, and then I will put the date. Then I will close the parenthesis. I will add 2 to this year. So years will be added by 2. Then month will also, I will give the formula again, the reference of the cell. I want to add 2 in the months as well. And day, I will add day as well by, let's make it by +9. So I will close the parenthesis and enter. You see now we have addition of 2 years, 2 months and 9 days. So everything is added in each category. So this is how you can add into dates. Moving on to if you need to help with the date calculation. So there's another formula for that. For example, date if. So is equal to date if. Close the parenthesis and start end, you have to give a start date and then end date and then days between. So let's say I give the start day this one, I'm sorry, comma, the end date this one, comma, oops, years, and then I will close this parenthesis. Sorry guys, I have a very bad keyboard here. Sorry, the formula is wrong. Dated, it's not date. So that's why it was wrong. I will convert into numbers. So how many years are there in between these two dates? That is 1. So if I want to check days in between them, 366 days. And if I want to check months, 12 months. So you can see how these two dates are calculated by taking months, years, or days out of it. So formula is dated if start date, end date, and then month, year, or day. So for year Y, for day D, for month M, that you have to enter here, and the formula will be completed. Now, if you want to calculate net working days, because these are only days, so for that reason, there's a formula net work days. Then you give the starting date and then ending dates. Now it will give you the working dates in between these days. So in between these two dates, you have this many working days. That was one of the formulas. Now let's remove this and let's go back to our receivable management data. And over this data, we have a sample data where we have some names of the customer, some document dates, some invoice reference, due dates, date when they were paid, payment profile, and follow-up. So now I'll calculate some things. For example, due date, I will set up as per the contract, and the contract was 30 days payment term. So after the document date, there are 30 days. I will enter here 30 days. So this is the due date. So it's automatically calculating the due date based on the document date. So we added 30 into that date and we got the due date here. So that is contractual due date calculation. So that is something I'll say you can calculate your due dates here. Now let's come for the payment profile. So payment profile means when these were paid. So for example, if I put here is equal to if D2, that is due date, is equal to date paid, E2, it should be paid in time. Paid on time. So this is a logical operator. Again, if we have this D2 of I minus less than E2, then what should it do? It's greater than 0. Then it should show paid early. And if both of these conditions are not met, then paid late. So that is how this formula works. I'll close this parenthesis, paid late. Why paid late? Because the payment date is after the due date. So of course it's paid late, but we don't have any paid early. So if I put this paid date before this due date, then it will change the date. So for example, if I change it to 2013, February 2nd, then paid early, you see it has changed. And if, for example, if I change it to the same date, then it should show me paid, not paid early, because it's showing me. So I will simply, so I will paste values here rather. There you go, paid on time. So when the dates are equal, it shows paid on time. When they are um, less, it shows paid early. And if it's higher, then it shows pay late. So this is the formula that you can see how the logic works, how the logical operator is working. So if D2 is equal to E2 on time, it should be paid on time. If D2 minus E2 is greater than 0, which means it was paid earlier, so paid early. And if both conditions are not met, that means that it is paid late. So that's how one formula works, guys. How can you analyze the payment profile of your customer? That is one of the features how you can do that. Then let's move on to follow-up of the customers. Now here we have some customers where I'm following it up, but what I've done is I missed the date of follow-up. Somewhere I'm putting the dates of the follow-up on weekends. So I need to check if my future dates are on weekends or are on um, the dates are missing or not really, or they are on the weekend Sunday. So for that, I have also devised one formula. I will show you how it works. So the formula is if is blank. Is blank is one of the formulas that I can use here. So I will use on this sheet, for example. So I will put is blank next call date missing. So in that case, if this is blank, this formula is saying that if this is blank, the cell is blank, then the next call is missing, that it should show. Now we'll use another formula, that is if, that is a logical operator, then choose. Choose weekdays, that's another feature or the function. G2 is our sheet, then I'll put S. Now it will give us the numbers. So Monday, Sunday, you can see all the formulas running through. So S, comma, now I have to run through this, M, comma, T. So we're going day by day. Monday, Sunday, Monday, now Tuesday, now Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, and Saturday. So all of them are pulled here, comma, parenthesis closed. Then I put is equal to, sorry, it's the other way around. Yes, it should be is equal to. If that is equal to Sunday, which is this, then it should show a text Sunday, or I should put weekend because I am analyzing weekends here. Weekend Sunday, comma. I will go back now. I want to put the same formula. I will copy it rather for Saturday as well. So I will put the same formula, copy and paste here, and rather than Sunday SA, which is Saturday. There you go. If both the conditions are not met, this means it's a weekday. So I'll put a weekday. I'll close it. I'll close the parentheses. 1, 2, 3. I was about to remove it. Yeah, now it's working. I think the parentheses were not fully covering there. So we can see how many parentheses are here. 3 of them, correct. So now the formula is working fine. So I have weekends, weekend Sunday, weekend Saturday, weekdays, everything is presented here. So if, for example, this one is 30th April 2000, 16. If you go in the calendar, if you go in April, 30th of April is Saturday. So it is correctly showing this Saturday day. So from there, you can manage your follow-up days. So next feature is lookups. So why our lookups don't work? There can be a couple of reasons for that. One reason can be that we have missing names of the columns. So if the columns names are missing, then VLOOKUP or lookup functions normally don't work. Secondly, if you have two Excels of different file types or file formats. So for example, one of the files is in XLS format and the other was is XLSX format, then both of them are not compatible for lookups. So make sure you have similar data type files for both lookups operations. So now I'll go to Excel and I will show you how this works. So for example, this is one of the syntax that I want to type. Here in this formula, what I want to see is that the color of the number, this one, I want to see the color in front of this number in this table. So what I'll have to do is to type syntax is equal to VLOOKUP. Then what I want to look up, one, where I want to look up in this table, where I want to look up in the first or second column, I'll say second column, two, and false means exactly the same, and if true, which will not be exactly the same. So when I put the false, it shows me that after one, it is black color. So if I change the number here, it will automatically change the color here. There is nothing like 4, so I will change it to 2, and you can see here. So that's how normally lookup or VLOOKUP works. Now I will show you a reverse VLOOKUP, rather, how we call it partial lookup. So what I want to do is I want to check this Pico one in any of these store names, but Pico one is somewhere like this one. This is Pico one, and it has space in between. We have to remove this space. Secondly, it's in between all this text. So what is this? I have to go into this text, and there I have to find this, and after this I'll have to match this and take the store ID here. That is the target. So I'll write the formula here. The formula goes like index. I'm sure most of you already know about this index. I will take A3 for example. Sorry, this is the A3, and from A3 I want to take till A20, all of it. Now important thing is I have to freeze it, so I'll press F4 key here. It will freeze everything. Now I will match it with what? So the first thing I want to type here is asterisk. Asterisk means everything. Now I'll type and. Now that's a challenge because I have a different kind of keyboard where I have to look up where is this and key. Okay, I found it finally. Now I'll type substitute. After substitute, I'll have to close this parenthesis, press D3. So I'll take this D3, comma, if there is a space, remove it. So it will remove the space. It will substitute the space with no space. Then I'll press another and I will type again everything. Static means everything is a wildcard. Now B3, sorry, B3, this was B3, yes, till end. I will take it till end. So till B20. There you see, I will freeze this one as well because I have to drag this formula. I've frozen this as well with F4, comma, I will put 0 here, brackets closed. The moment I enter, there's something wrong with the formula. Substitute, let's see where did we do something wrong. So index, A20, match, close, substitute. So the syntax is wrong, yes, now it's fine. There you go. Now when I type this formula, you can see it has pulled it from here. If I bring it down, it will take other numbers. For example, where did we get this one? Now, okay, that's fine. The formula goes fine, but we don't have this one frozen. So I'll freeze this one as well. Now the numbers should be different for sure. So there you see, now we have different numbers. This one is connected with this. So for example, you can see the connection here with this one. Here, let's say different color. This green one is, you see here, the numbers are correct. It's pulling the correct number. And of course, then this one is the yellow one. So you can see this formula of index and substitute with the combination of matches picking up everything from the store ID based on the text in the name of the store name. So it's somewhere hidden inside the store name, but we have managed to pull it out. So this is kind of a reverse VLOOKUP, I'll say, which can help you to see the data inside the tables. So let's move on, guys, to our next feature. And the next feature is logical functions. So Microsoft Excel 2010 uses 7 logical functions, which are AND, false, if error, not, or, and true, which appears on the logical command button in the drop-down menu and the formula tabs in the ribbon. So I will show you quickly where it falls down. So if you go into formulas tab, there you have this logical numbers and you click on and you see all these features. So normally in 2010 Office, these were used, like as I mentioned, 7 of them, but now you can see more of them over here. So I will show you a few examples of these functions, which are logical functions, that how these logical functions work. So is equal to and, now its function is activated. So I'll put down 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, which is a fact, which is true, and it is showing true. Now we'll make a little bit more progress in this formula. There's another functionality. I will add another statement and which says true as well. So one of them is false, will make it false. For example, now one of them is false, so it's false. So, and I'll say logical function or operator is used for comparing them. So if any one of them is false, it's going to show false. So then there is if functionality, as I mentioned, that if functionality is we used in our feature for the on time, paid on time. So that is something, how we call it, if functionality. So we have, for example, two numbers here. I will use an if error. So if error can also be used if we have these two. I will divide them, for example. And if there is an error, it will show text error in the calc. So this is what it will show. Now there is no error in the formula. That's fine. There is no error in the formula. That is also fine. But if there is a formula error, for example, NA, then it should not show any number, but I don't have formula anymore here. So I will again type the formula. If error is this divided by this, show me error in the calc. So this is what we should be able to see at the end. And you see there's an error in the calc shown. So if I divide it, this shows the number. But if I divide it with something that is not calculatable, it shows the calculation error here. So this is something like it shows NA. It can also be used for something like not applicable, that is if NA. And now this kind of expressions can be used as logical operators, that can also be used as not um, or true. So all of these features can be used as logical functions here. Now let's move on to our next topic, and that is advanced charting objects. Advanced charting objects We will use multiple objects like Sparklines. We will use combo charts. We will create timelines in the pivot table. So let's move on again back to our Excel files where we are going to play with these charts and timelines. So I will move on to the Sparklines first. That is my favorite. I really like this Sparkline feature. So look at this. This is a sample. It shows the spark lines. It's very handy, very quick, and very beautiful if you see it in the analysis. So for example, we have an aging analysis here. I want to line a spark lines here. So I'll need to go to insert. In the insert, there is a part which is called spark lines. You can see here. So I will put line spark lines. It asks for the data range. I'll select the data range here, and the data range is selected. It goes down till the end. And there you go. The data range is beautiful now. We have some graphs which shows the trend of these lines. So what I'll do is I will mark these spark lines with multiple colors from here. I can do that. And then I can mark the high points with red color. So you see it shows the higher points with the red colors. I can put anything on these first points, low points, last points, everything can be colored. We can use multiple colors here. We can use multiple kind of, say, combinations here. Then if we want to add the columnar sparklines, there is a column data as well. So I'll again have to select the data. There you go. Again, you'll have to drag it down till the end. And in the end, you see this. Again, I will go back to the markers. I'll put the highest point as light green. So you see the high areas are light green now in this one. Similarly, you can add another one, the spark line as win-lose. That is also very interesting. There you go. It's more or less the same image, but it shows the lose as down as well. So you can see them going down. So this is some of the spark lines that are very quick to add to your data and that are very handy actually to see the data and the information. So that is something you could see from there. Now we have some thing called a data which is two-dimensional. So we need to pull it in the chart. So if I pull it in the chart, it will either give me one dimension of this data, that is the number of collections, or it will give me another dimension of percentage. I cannot pull them together in one dimension, two dimensions in one chart. So what I'll do is I can show you how you can do that. So go to insert, and inside there you will see recommended charts. When you go to recommended charts, you will simply go and see it is showing you the combo chart here. Interesting. So if you don't see it there, you can simply go to combo. In the combo, you can go for cluster column, that's fine, it's showing. The other one is percentage line. You can ask for a secondary axis. Click. Now it is secondary axis. You can select this line of your choice. There you go. And secondary axis now will show us a different dimension. So the moment I select it, you can see from here that there is these lines and columns. So the columns are showing the numbers collection, and the lines here you can see are showing us the percentage on the right hand side. So we have two different kind of dimensions in one table or one chart. So that is one of the examples I wanted to share with you guys to bring in two types of charts in one combination to make it more quick and beautiful. So let's go back to one of the features that is there for pivot tables and using the timelines in your pivot tables. So let's move on to this pivot table timelines. So you have data here. In the data, what I'll quickly go, I will make one pivot table here. So we have a pivot table here where we have dates, when the dates were paid, when the invoices were paid. And we also have here, let's move these dates quarter and the years out, rather keep the dates only. Yes, we have the months, so I'll get the invoice values. So I'll put the invoice values in the other column and I will make a sum of these invoice values with sum. Now we have a table here, and what I want is I want to see this table in the timelines. Oops, where did the file go? It's very fast. Okay, I'll keep it here. There we go. I will click on home. I will change the data so it should look a little bit beautiful. So I will select this pivot table. I'll go to insert and I'll add timelines. Now it's asking me, when do you want to set up the timelines on the date paid? I say yes, please. So there we go. Now we have timeline here. Now, whenever I'll move the timeline, I will be able to see the data accordingly. So there is no data there. So the more I move this dates here, you can see the data there. So I'll move it along there. So in the November, it had 18,000 only. So this is how this timeline, animated timeline will move for you. You can make it a little bigger. There you go. And now on the timeline, you can move and see what do you have in your tables. Down there, it is visible. So if I want to see in October, what did I have? In November, I had 18,000. In December, 245K. January, 992K. In February, 700K, and so on and so forth. So this timeline can be used to get a better visibility on the monthly basis or on the quarterly, on the yearly basis to demonstrate your data quickly. So that was one of the feature. Now let's move on to our next feature, that is the modern trends to show our data. So I will go back to one of the files that I have. Let me see if I have it there. Yes, I do. I'll open another Excel where I have a different type of data, which will show me the KPIs. So I will move on to modern trend here. This is one of the graphic types that you can find and go to insert and add-ins. In the add-ins, you have the store, and in the store, you can find any sort of add-ins that you would like to add. For example, if you want to add this add-in, you have to search for modern trend. I have this modern trend, trust it. Yes, I do. So I've got it here. So once you have this modern trend here, you can simply go and select the data to click on the data selection and press create. There you go. Now data is there. You have your BDS and microwave data there. You have months down there. It's a beautiful visibility. You want to highlight the top numbers there. So you can show that these were two very high numbers, and you can also want show the low numbers. So you had very low numbers there. So this is a very good modern trend graph which you can pull in, and you can also change the colors here. For example, if you want to use a brighter color, you can see it's a different kind of a formation. If you want to get it a little bit dark color, you can show it like this, and it looks very beautiful. And if you want to go into any one of these, you can plug it in and plug the other ones out. So it's your choice what you want to highlight. You can accordingly click on it and it will show you the highlight of that particular graph. That is one of the features, modern trend. There's another feature of radial graph that is also very, very handy to use. So for example, if I have here some numbers, I want to show them in radial, I'll go back to my add-ins. I will check where is the radial. It's a robust Excel also, very nice and handy. I'll click on the radial charts here. I will insert here. So you can see the radial charts is loading. The moment it's loaded, you can simply go to the settings button, select the data. You will go for the data selection. Okay. The row label is the first labels, and the numbers are in sum of OD. You can select multiple colors as well, and you can set up a title. For example, my title is customers. So I will press OK. So you see my customers data, and it's in a radial format. So it looks awesome. It's beautiful. So you can see it like this. Now let's move to another chart which has some data here, and this data is, let's say, I will set this data up for, okay, we have multiple customers here. So first thing I will do is I will make it, I will add over here a meter, which will give the numbers here. So what I'll do is I'll go to add-in, and in the gauge, this is the meter, which is a beautiful small meter which shows that I will insert the gauge, and it shows here the number. I will select the total number. I press OK. Now I have to set up here to make sure that I am setting it up correctly. So in the settings, what I'll do is minimum value 0, maximum value, let's make it 500. Now green range, let's set it up from 0 to, let's say, 100. That is the green area. Then after 100 till 250, I'll say it's yellow range. And after 250 till, let's say, 500, it's the red range. That's how it will be. Now you can change the colors of the dials from here as well, but that's fine with me. There you go. Now it is 250 is in the mid and rest is red, and the green and yellow parts are here. So now if I select another customer, for example, here, it's 0. So it comes down to 0. Now it will be more beautiful, guys, if I add here a slicer. So if I add a slicer on the customer, I press OK. Now here we go. So if I press, you see, the moment I press the customer, my chart is working with that, and it's going up or down accordingly. There you go. There you go. This one is dangerous. Oh, this goes up, then it comes down. So accordingly, it will move and it will give a good, I'll say, graphical impact or image to show for your customers. So guys, that was it for today from my side. I will look forward for your presence in the upcoming 2 more sessions, the presentations where I will be showing some more data, for more information, and some more techniques for account receivable management. Till then, take very good care of yourself. Looking forward to talk to you again. Thank you very much. Bye bye.